Talking to yourself when you are alone is often noticed quickly and understood poorly. It tends to be interpreted as a sign that something is unstable, as if a quiet mind is the only kind of healthy mind. But for some people, silence does not bring clarity. It creates congestion. When thoughts move quickly, overlap, and compete for attention, staying quiet can make everything feel more chaotic rather than calm. Speaking becomes a way to slow that internal motion, just enough to see what is actually happening. This habit is not about losing control or drifting away from reality. It is about giving fast-moving thoughts a structure they can settle in a time 0.5s. There is a psychological reason certain minds rely on their own voice to think clearly, stay focused, and remain emotionally steady. And that reason has far more to do with cognitive depth than with anything being wrong. For people who talk to themselves, the voice is not used to escape thought, but to organize it. When ideas remain only inside the mind, they can blur together, overlap, and lose definition. Speaking out loud gives those thoughts a boundary. It slows them just enough to be examined instead of chased. Psychology shows that vocalizing turns abstract thinking into something more concrete, allowing the mind to separate what matters from what does not. This is not confusion trying to find direction. It is clarity insisting on structure. While many people tolerate mental noise and vague impressions, some minds resist that internal fog. They prefer precision. Hearing their own words allows them to test logic, notice inconsistencies, and refine meaning in real time. In that sense, self-talk is not random or uncontrolled. It is a deliberate method for maintaining order inside a mind that processes more than silence alone can hold. Talking to yourself while working or searching for something is often mistaken for distraction, but psychologically, it serves the opposite purpose. When you name objects or actions out loud, your attention becomes more precise. The brain responds to spoken words by highlighting matching information in your environment, filtering out what is irrelevant more efficiently. This is why saying a word like keys or phone can suddenly sharpen visual focus instead of breaking it. Your voice becomes a guide for attention, directing cognitive resources toward a specific target rather than letting them drift aimlessly. What may appear scattered from the outside is often a highly organized internal search process. Self-talk helps reduce mental wandering, speeds up problem solving, and creates a clearer path from intention to action. It is not noise interrupting focus. It is focus being actively maintained through language. When self-talk appears during moments of stress, it is often misread as anxiety spiraling out of control. In reality, it usually signals the opposite. Speaking to yourself creates psychological distance between what you feel and how you respond. By putting emotions into words, the nervous system receives a cue to slow down. Psychology recognizes this form of self-directed language as a marker of emotional regulation, not emotional weakness. Addressing yourself out loud helps shift the mind from reaction to observation, allowing intense feelings to move through without taking full control of behavior. Instead of being overwhelmed, you become a steady presence, guiding yourself through pressure. While many people depend on external reassurance to regain balance, this habit shows an internal ability to stabilize emotions using language. It is a quiet form of resilience that allows composure to return before situations escalate. Another reason this habit persists is because speaking strengthens memory in a way silent thinking often does not. When information is spoken aloud, the brain treats it as more significant and more worthy of being stored. Psychology refers to this as the production effect, where verbal expression creates a deeper memory trace than internal repetition alone. Your voice marks ideas as important, helping instructions, plans, and insights stay accessible over time. This is not compulsive repetition or absent-minded muttering. It is an intentional way of encoding information so it does not disappear under mental overload. For a mind that values understanding over fleeting awareness, speaking becomes a natural memory support system. It reinforces learning, clarifies intention, and preserves details that might otherwise fade too quickly. Taken together, this pattern reveals something important about how your mind operates. Talking to yourself when you are alone does not point to something being wrong. It reflects a mind that moves with speed, depth, time, 0.3s, and complexity, one that needs structure to stay balanced. Your voice becomes the tool that keeps thinking organized, attention directed, emotions regulated, and memory intact. Rather than relying on silence, you use language to guide yourself through mental activity in a steady way. Many people assume stability looks quiet from the outside, but for certain minds, stability is maintained through expression. This habit is not a loss of control. It is control being exercised in a form that fits how your brain naturally works. If you talk to yourself when you are alone, it does not mean you are strangy, time 0.3s, broken, or slowly losing control. It means your mind does not process life passively. It engages with it. Your thoughts need shape, your attention needs guidance, and your emotions need language to settle into balance. For you, voice is not noise. It is a stabilizing system. It allows thinking to become visible, emotions to soften before they harden, and ideas to stay long enough to be understood. Many people move through their inner world without structure and mistake that silence for calm. You do not. You use language to stay oriented inside yourself. Talking to yourself is not something to correct or suppress. It is thinking made visible, used carefully to support a mind that works with depth rather than ease.